Hello, my name is Tom and welcome to my channel Tom Yoga Om. Today's class is going to see us working into the hips and the area of the pelvis and the lower back. On an energetic level, this region is connected to the swadhisthana chakra, the sacral chakra, and it's connected to the energy of our emotions and a sense of feeling balanced in where we are and how we are doing in our lives at the moment. So by working into this region on a physical level, the hope is to bring, and the aim is to bring a balance back to this region and back into that energy related to emotions and feelings. We're going to start on our backs. So when you're ready, just bring yourself down. And before you do so, bring your feet together, your knees out wide, and roll your spine onto the mat. If you find that your hips are feeling quite tight here, you can take your hands and take those fists underneath the legs to elevate them up a little bit. If this doesn't alleviate that feeling enough, then you can take some bricks or books or pillows underneath your legs. And once you're here, to ground ourselves down, let's take a deep breath in through the nostrils. And a long exhale, sigh out of the mouth. Take 2 more rounds of breath like this. Then close your mouth and start to breathe in through your nostrils. Breathe out through your nostrils, and as you do that, feel your body start to soften and relax. Take 4 more deep breaths in and out here, and pay particular attention to breathing down into your belly. Filling into that space and noticing what's going on there physically. Breathing into that space and noticing what comes up for you in terms of emotions or a mental state. Notice if there's a shift or a change as you focus on that area. And just take 2 more deep breaths in and out here. And see if anything else comes up for you. At this part of the class, it's more about paying attention to what you're witnessing rather than noticing any significant change. That will come at the end of the class. When you're ready, you can start to wriggle your fingers and toes and use the strength of your arms to lift your knees together. Bring your feet flat on the floor. Take a big breath in and reach your arms back behind you. And then bring your hands down beside you, fingertips touching your heels. When you're ready, press down firmly into your hands and your feet, and start by taking a big breath into your belly and into your chest. As you exhale, press into the mat a little bit firmer. And on your next breath in, we're going to start by rolling the hips up off the floor into a bridge pose. So breathing in, press down into the floor and roll those hips up, pressing them towards the ceiling as high as you can. Let the weight rest in your shoulders and your feet. Take another deep breath in here. If you can, lift up a little higher. And as you exhale, lower your spine back down onto your mat. I'm going to do that 1 more time. Do it at your own pace, 2 breaths resting once we're up in that bridge pose. Breathing in, lift up. And hold here. Take your final big breath in. And exhale, roll your spine down. Good, then draw your knees into your chest and circle them a few times, massaging into the lower back. Again, pay attention to what you feel in the hip region. It's by doing this, by paying attention and then comparing that to how we feel at the end of the class, that we can really tell what kind of a change or benefit the yoga practice has brought us. Change the direction of your rotation if you haven't already, and take one more breath. And then from here, we're going to extend our legs out, and we're taking a version of Navasana here. So we're going to lift our feet up off the floor. I'd like you to pull your toes back towards you, draw your heels out. So press your heels out, draw your toes in. Lift your chest up off the floor and take 3 breaths here. Holding your body in this Navasana position. Using your core. You might start to shake. Take one more breath. And then slowly, with control, lower yourself down. Nice. Bring your feet back onto the floor with knees bent. Take your hands behind your legs and just rock yourself up and down a few times to massage into the spine. See what happens and how you roll when you kind of stiffen your shoulders a little bit. And see what happens when you relax them. It's a little smoother when they're relaxed for me. But what do you notice? Let's take one more roll here and then meet at the top of the mat with the feet flat on the floor. We're going to come into another Navasana. I'm going to scoot back here. We're going to lift our legs off the floor, press the heels out. Maybe you've got some nice sun in your face like I do. Hopefully you're not in a small, gloomy apartment. If you are, I'm sorry. It sucks. Then extend your arms out in front of you and hold this Navasana. Should feel it in your hip flexors here, feeling them engage. Take 2 more breaths. Good, then drop the feet onto the floor. We'll do a couple of cat-cows. Take those hands onto your legs. Inhale to lift your belly and your chest forward. Gently lift your chin up. And as you exhale, drop your lower back behind you, then your middle back, then your upper back. And draw your chin in. And inhale, lifting up. Exhale, drop it back. One more. Then inhale back to a vertical position. And from here, bring your feet together. Take a hold of your ankles. Draw your feet close to your hips. Breathe into your belly and your chest. And as you exhale, tilt the torso forward, drive the arms down, and find the stretch around the groin area. Notice if this area feels tight. And simply breathe into it. One more breath here. Good. From here, we're going to slide the feet forward. We're going to bring the right shin parallel to the top of the mat. We're going to bring our left foot back behind us so that our right foot and our left knee are in alignment. And then both of our legs are forming a 90-degree angle in this pose. So just try to find that. Then I want you to turn yourself over the femur or over the thigh of that right leg. Reach your arms forward and find a nice stretch in the outer glute. Extend your arms, and sometimes what you might need to do is walk your hands further to the left or the right to find that sweet stretch. Once you're there, hold it. Draw your chin into your neck and extend your spine nice and long out through the top of your head, and take 3 deep breaths. After the 3rd exhale, walk your hands back towards you. Take your right foot and just draw it into your left thigh. Then we're going to take our left foot and step it onto the outside of our right leg. And we're coming into a seated position, and we're going to take a twist. See if you can get your left sit bone on the floor. And if you can't, then maybe this is far enough for you. This is where your limit is today. But if it's all right, you can sit down, draw that left leg in as close as possible, and just start by hugging it in. If you feel a decent stretch in your left glute, stay here. Otherwise, take your right elbow onto the outside of that left leg, bring your left arm behind you and twist. Hold here for 3 breaths. Start to notice what's happening in the hip region and around the legs. And notice if you feel any change as you breathe deeper into that space. What do you notice on a physical level? Does it feel easy or uncomfortable? Does it feel tight or loose? And are you starting to notice any mental shift? One more breath. After that final exhale, just come back to center, do a counter twist, so turn to your right, fold yourself down for a moment, and then lift yourself up. You can bring that left shin parallel to the top of your mat, and then bring your right foot out, right leg out to the 90-degree angle on the right side. Bring your hands out in front of you and fold yourself down for 3 breaths. Notice if this side feels any different. Now, it's said that with this swadhisthana energy, the sacral chakra energy, the element here is water. So what that means is that the movements that we want to do today are quite fluid, that they're quite smooth, that we transition, that we're not too stiff or rigid in any shape. So I really encourage you to explore this space and these stretches and just move in a way that feels right for your hips, feels right for your body. After your 3rd breath, draw your left foot into your hips and bring that right leg and swing it around the top and place it down onto the left side of your mat. Start by hugging that left knee in, and again, if this is far enough, then stay here. Otherwise, take your left arm to the outside of your right leg and twist. Breathe into this side and notice the difference in your hips and in how far you can twist as you hold this asana. When you're ready, come back to a neutral position and extend your legs out in front of you. Now, it's really important that we stretch the lower back because it's connected to our hips. All these muscles drive down into this space, right? So what we're going to do is come into staff pose. Bring your hands either side of you and press down into the floor. Draw your toes back towards you to feel the stretch in your hamstrings. And as you exhale, point your toes. Do that for 2 more breaths. And then we're going to fold forward. Good. Draw those toes back towards you and really gently and passively and in a fluid motion, start to walk your hands forward and bring yourself down. Draw your chin in, and with a bit of patience, just sway your body from side to side, stretching into the left and the right sides of your lower back, noticing what's going on for you. For the next 3 breaths, I'm going to hold here and I want you to breathe deep into your belly and into your back. If you were to visualize the energy in this space, what would you notice? Would it feel fluid, or would it feel stiff or stuck? How does it feel in your body right now? After your 3rd exhale, gently press into your hands and walk them back towards your hips. Come into a vertical position. Take your hands beside you. We're going to do a reverse bridge now to re-stretch into the fronts of those hips. Plant your feet flat on the floor, and when you're ready, lift your hips up and straighten your arms. So try not to bend your elbows, try to straighten those arms. If you want, you can drop your head back or draw it into your chest. Take 4 breaths here. Just lift up as high as you feel you can. Feel your strength. Press into the feet a little more and lift your hips up higher. And take 1 more breath. On the exhale, lower yourself down. Good, and before we come into our first little sequence, we're going to sweep our legs from left to right. So drop back into your arms, creating a bit of an M shape, and then drop your knees to the right and to the left. Keep breathing. Now, the last little bit of talk about chakras I want to tell you about here today is that with the swadhisthana chakra, as I mentioned, it's located around the hips and around the lower back and the lower belly, the pelvis region. When the energy in this space, you can keep going if you want, or you can pause. When the energy in this space is out of whack, if it's feeling unsynced in our physical, mental, or energetic selves, you might notice that it manifests in a physical way. So you might feel blocked, or you might have digestion issues. As we move into this space, it brings a physical openness that eventually brings a mental openness as well. When the space is underworked, when we're not bringing enough energy into this area, or when the emotional or the feeling part of our lives, because of external forces sometimes, throws this area out of sync, then we might find blocked, and we might have those digestion issues or some issues with blood or energy flowing in that area. When it's overworked, when there's too much energy flowing in this region, you might find that you give your emotions and your love and your capacities to people too freely. Maybe your emotions swing from one side over to the other, and it doesn't really feel balanced. By working into this space physically and being present with it, we bring back not only a physical balance, but also a mental and energetic one as well. At least that's the hope. Anyway, let's move back into the class. Cross your ankles over and come into a tabletop position. And from here, start to circle your hips to massage into those leg joints, massaging into the space where the leg bones meet the hip bones. Take 1 more big breath in. And as you exhale, just change the rotation. Notice how it feels. Good, then come to a neutral position with your legs and your arms. And from here, step your right foot to your right wrist, your left foot to your left wrist, and come into Malasana, a yogi squat. From here, we're going to plant our hands onto the floor, and I want you to start to press your arms into your legs and your legs into your arms, feeling a bit of pressure here. Breathe into the belly and the chest. And as you exhale, just plant down into your hands and your feet. Take 1 more breath here, and then we're going to flow. When you're ready, take a full breath in. And as you exhale, we're going to fold ourselves down and lift our hips up. Inhale to drop your hips down, lift your chest up, coming back to Malasana. And exhale to fold yourself down. 2 more rounds of breath. Good. From here, drop down into Malasana. If you can, bring your hands through to your heart center and try and get your heels on the floor. If you can't get your heels on the floor, you can take a brick and sit up onto it. And that gives you a little bit of support. So some people might find themselves like this. If you don't have a brick, use some books or a cushion. And just hold this space and take 3 breaths and try to feel your hips sink down. And try to bring your awareness and your presence to that area of the pelvis and notice what's going on. When you're ready, you can open your eyes if they were closed like mine. Bring your hands on the floor, move the brick out the way if it was there. And from here, we're going to turn our feet forward and come into a forward fold. Take a moment to rest here. So take your arms onto your elbows. Let your spine and your arms hang down. And sway your hips from side to side. Do a couple of yeses and nos with your head. And then from here, I'd like you to take a generous bend in your knees. Bring your feet together if they aren't already. Take your right hand underneath the center point of your chest, and you can either come down onto a flat hand or onto your fingers. And I'd like you to take your left hand onto your right wrist and sweep your left arm up as you press down into your right hand. Have a go at looking up and take 3 deep breaths here. Press down into that right hand and breathe into your belly and into your lower back. After the 3rd exhale, sweep your left hand down and just swap the 2 hands over. Take your right hand onto your left wrist and sweep it up as you breathe in. Take 3 breaths here. And then bring that right hand down. From here, we're going to bring our hips down onto the floor. And we're going to bring our feet together again, our knees out wide, and come all the way down onto our backs. Take 1 hand onto your belly and 1 hand onto your chest. Take a deep breath in through the nostrils and feel your belly inflate and your chest inflate too. And exhale out of the mouth with a sigh. Take 1 more round of breath like that. If at any point you feel like those hips are feeling too strained, holding in this position, then you can bring your fists underneath your thighs, just like we had them at the start of the class. Or you can bring some bricks there. But if you're feeling all right here, keep 1 hand on the belly, and then take the hand that's on the chest and just bring it to the lower part of the belly. So your hands are covering your whole belly. This is the space and the area of the swadhisthana chakra and its energy. And for the next 10 breaths, what I'd like you to do is to breathe down deep into that space, to feel it expand. And if you'd like, you could visualize an orange color. This is the color of the swadhisthana chakra. Because the element of this chakra is water, you might like to think of waves crashing against a beach to the sound of your breath, and an orange light hitting those waves. Just imagine that the flow of your breath and the flow of those waves is calming and balancing for your mental space. And for your mind and for your soul. And take 3 final deep breaths in and out here, and imagine that the waves are washing over your whole body. If you'd like, you can stay here and continue to breathe in this energy and to feel that grounding sensation stemming from the region underneath your hands. Or if you're ready to come out of the practice, you can bring your hands under your legs and lift your legs together once again. Bring the knees into the chest and just circle them a few times. Massaging into the lower back. And take this time to reconnect to the physical space and notice if it feels more open or closed compared to the start of the class. You can circle the other way. And if you tune into how you're feeling on a mental and energetic level, notice if there's been a shift for you compared to what you felt like at the start of the class. When you're ready, you can roll over onto your side and bring yourself up into a comfortable seat. And just place your hands at your lower belly. Close your eyes and take 3 final breaths here with me. Be conscious of how expansive or closed this space feels. And I do hope that you notice a shift, both in the physical way, in how open you feel, how much space you've created around the hips and the pelvic region. And also in the mental plane as well. Hopefully your emotions and your feelings are feeling a little bit more balanced. I want to say thank you for joining me for this class today. Something that really helps me to remember when I'm feeling that my emotions are scattered and all over the place, which happens at times for sure, is that emotions come like those waves. They're quite fluid in that they sometimes reach you, but then they always pass you by. So it's kind of like an emotional sensation washing over you and then washing away. If you are feeling overwhelmed, not to be dismissive to what you're feeling right now, just beware that it will pass you by, and hopefully you can find a little bit of groundedness in that. I wish you a wonderful day, and I hope this class has brought you a little bit more peace, and I hope to see you again soon. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me for that practice. If you enjoyed this practice, then you might enjoy this video. If you have not subscribed yet, you can really support me and this channel's growth by subscribing to the video. And if you've already subscribed, then you can support me further, if you want to, by sharing this video with a friend. Let me know what you thought about the class in the comments section below, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.